Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. In today's video we will be discussing about a new initiative by Government of India which is related to the payment, like the digital payment within the India, right? So that new initiative is UPI123pay, and there is one also initiative which is quite similar to that initiative, but that is for some particular cell phones only. So that initiative is UPI Lite. So let us understand through this issue what is the difference between UPI123pay and UPI Lite, right? So without wasting time, let's get started. So the main reason to implement these two schemes were like, for this UPI123 only a particular type of cell phones are allowed, which are called as feature phones. Now the feature phones are that phones which were used in the in from the 80s, like the Nokia 1100, right? Like that Nokia is a very ideal phone, or some other phones which were having so many buttons in them, right? So these old phones which were used from the 80s till the present by some peoples within the India, they are called as feature phones, right? So these feature phones are used by around 40 crore peoples within the India, right? So that's why government has to implement some scheme for these peoples, so that they will be included in the financial inclusion of the country, right? Because like after the UPI and all things, the digitalization was successfully implemented, but some peoples who are using the 2G 3G technology were eliminated from the financial inclusion. So to have them into the financial inclusion, government has to come up with some initiative. So this UPI 123 pay will act as a sort of a solution for this issue, right? So before this UPI 123, there was also one another scheme through which there was one number, like a star 99 hash or something like that. So through this number, the people were like given the opportunity to make the payments through the offline mode, but this initiative was not quite successful, right? So that's why government has come up with this new plan of UPI 123 pay, right? And in the next UPI, right, this scheme is also only allowed for the smartphone users, right? So the first difference between these two schemes is UPI 123 is only allowed for feature phones, sorry, only feature phones, and UPI Lite is only allowed for smartphones, right? So let's see what all the things are there in these two schemes differentially in the next slides. So here we can see these are feature phones, right, as we have already discussed. So this UPI 123 scheme was implemented is very recently announced for these feature phones, right? So RBI, which is Central Bank of India, announced this UPI 123 scheme for all the peoples who are having these feature phones, right? And for all the peoples other than them who are having the smartphones, this UPI Lite scheme is implemented for them, right? So so this is the first difference which we need to understand, like for the for the feature phones we are having UPI 123 Lite scheme, right? And for the smartphones we are having this UPI Lite scheme, right? So let's see in detail like what all things are then in this UPI 123 pay, right? So in this UPI 123, the person is able to have the payment through four methods, right? So first is IVR method, second is app based method, third is missed call method, and fourth one is proxy sound method, right? So let us see one by one what all things are there in all these four methods of payment, right? First of all, let us understand like through UPI pay, all the peoples will be like they'll be having their 2G or 3G phones, right? So it is quite tougher situation, like in will they'll be like they won't be having their internet connectivity 24 by 7, right? So they'll be in a situation like they can access the internet only for a particular time, or only for a particular like memory only, right? Because they'll be having some like smaller capacity cell phones. So that's why the government is initiating these schemes to have them sort of in financial inclusion. So in that way we will discuss like these are these four methods. So first is IVR method. So in this IVR method there will be one interactive voice response. So like you might have came across this situation while we are having some issues on our like phone or any like any devices like cell phone or any smart devices or any home appliances which you are using. So if you are having some issues for that things, you tend to like have the discussion with the customer support, right? So in the same way, there will be one interactive voice response. So like the person from one side will tell some things, and from the person from like the voice response from the other side will tell some things to complete this, like press one button, press two button, something like that. And in that way, like the pre-recorded things will work in that discussion, right? So in that way, this payment process will be like executed, right? So that is first method. So in the second method, there will be one app based method. So in that method, like the customer has to like install this UPI123 app, which will be install like the which will be given by government of India very soon. So that app has to be installed for this UPI123 payment gateway, right? So third is missed call method. So in this method, like the merchant, like imagine like a person is purchasing some grocery, right? So once that person is done with that grocery purchase, he has to do some payment, right? So that payment, the merchant who is selling that grocery will show some number, right? So on that number, miss call has to be given by the person who is purchasing the thing, right? So after the miss call is given to that number, a, a message or some pre-recorded things will be displayed on this person's number, right? So after with the help of that things, this person can make this offline payment, right? So in that way, like in this UPI 123 method of miss call, so this payment will be continued, right? And in this all, the last method is like proxy sound method. So in the proxy sound method, there will be use of sound waves to transfer the funds. So let us see like what exactly is the sound waves. So imagine like if you are having wait, you are having so you are having a cell phone, right? And the merchant is also a cell phone, right? So like in the same technology which we were using like till the time for transferring the data from one phone to the other phone, right? Like for files transfer, we just turn on our Bluetooth, and the other person doing the same thing, right? Or nowadays we use the shared chat and similar things for the data transfer, right? So in the same way, if a person wants to transfer his funds, both the persons will activate their particular like cash app, right? So once both the persons have activated their cash app, they'll deliver one sound for sending the cash, and one will get the sound for delivering the cash. So in this method, the payment process will be completed with the help of sound, right? So that particular sound frequency will be used for that payment. So that is called as proxy sound method, right? So like all these things are quite like interesting methods of the payment, because most of the things will be done offline, right? So that's why they are quite great initiatives by the government, right? Now in the next method, like UPI Lite, which is used for the smartphones, there will be a condition of up to 2000 rupees of only payment can be stored into the into the customer's wallet, right? So let us understand like what exactly is the process of this UPI Lite, right? So in this UPI Lite, this UPI Lite is used only for the very small transaction, right? Like only the transaction of up to 2000 rupees can be done through this UPI Lite, right? So, and the reason for having this like only transaction of up to 2000 rupees only is that within India, like out of the total transaction, out of the 100% like the payments of the transaction, 75% of the total transactions happens uh, in a very small amount, right? And that small amount is up to 200 rupees only, right? So the main purpose of implementing this UPI Lite scheme by the government of India was to have the separate financial inclusion scheme for all the peoples who are neglected by the UPI scheme, right? So that's why all these peoples who are having this small transaction, they has to be identically included within the scheme. So that's why government implemented this UPI Lite scheme, right? So out of this 75% small transaction, 50% transaction was in the amount of only 100 to 200 rupees, right? So that's why there has to be a particular scheme, as I already said, to have this people's included in the financial inclusion, right? So let us understand how this like UPI Lite scheme will be practically implemented through the app, right? So within the app we will see like how the things will like process, right? So while a person is opening the UPI app from his smartphone, then he has to choose this UPI Lite feature for like small transaction only, right? And then he has to add online to 2000 rupees into his UPI Lite wallet, right? Because the main reason for adding this 2000 rupees into his wallet is like he has to make these payments in the offline way, right? Because like as we have already discussed into the UPI 123 pay plan, they'll be doing the payment through the offline mode, right? So in the same manner here, if the person wants to make some payment in the offline mode, he has to have some amount in his wallet for that payment, right? So this payment, so to make this payment, the person will have to like after installing his UPI Lite feature, then he has to add some amount of up to 2000 rupees into his wallet, right? And there is one condition of adding this amount into his wallet, that is like uh, the amount of only up to 2000 rupees can be added into the wallet, right? So not more than that 2000 rupees can be added in the wallet, right? And on this 2000 rupees, the customer won't get any interest or something like that by the NPCI or any like like from any banks like in the future, right? So this will be just a wallet in which the amount will be saved for temporary purposes, right? So after this wallet, after this amount is 2000 rupees amount is saved in the wallet, then the person can make the offline payments for any things, like as we have already seen for all these small purchases like the kirana and all things or the grocery purchase. Then they can do this the purchase of up to 2000 rupees each time for that purchase, right? And the condition here is like the person can make only like one time payment of up to 200 rupees only each time, right? So like if they want to make the multiple payments, then they has to like do these payments in the multiple times. So but the point is like minimum 200 rupees of payment is allowed in this offline payment, right? So in this slide we can see both the things in a single way, right? In a single slide, right? Like if you want this to be in your like phone or something for further reference, then you can have the screenshot of this page, right? But let us see once again, like in UPI 123 we are having this four methods, right? So through these four methods we can like any customer can do the payment offline, right? And in this UPI Lite we are having the process of up to 200 rupees of one time payment, right? So yes, that is it for now. Like if you are having any suggestions or questions in this video or any further economy related video, then you can always reach out to economy daily for all the further references. And yes, thank you.